right, this is Radio Entrepreneurs, our conscious business show here live at the Boston Security Analyst Society here in Boston. They've hosted us today. We're excited about that. Also, our other sponsor is Global X, that's just recently launched the Conscious Capitalism ETF. And I'm here with my co-host Peter Meyerson, who is partner with Cohen, Resnick, Meyerson, and Plout. So it's been an exciting day.
Resnick.
I keep saying it wrong. I'll get it right. We got one more to go. Okay.
You know, Darby,
we're going to rename this entirely.
Darby,
right?
This has been a wonderful day for me.
It's been a lot of
I've met
fun.
a lot of very interesting people, and it's been a lot of fun. So
well, and the fun continues.
my partner David Resnick, which since I
give him my apologies.
I'll give him your apologies,
okay,
but he won't
right.
mind.
He won't mind. All right.
Mind.
Okay. Good. Well, we're excited. We have Julie Goodridge with us. She is CEO of NorthStar Asset Management. For many of you that are listening, Julie actually was with our inaugural event of Conscious Capitalism Boston in June 15th, and she was one of our panelists. So we're excited to have her back here for a one-on-one discussion. But she's got incredible background, over 30 years in the investment management business, and including 26 years since founding NorthStar. And she has been practicing social responsible investing since 1984, and as we'll hear in our dialogue, really has made a difference and an impact in all the investing decisions, and certainly in this market space. She certainly, in 2014, was named one of the 25 most powerful women in finance by American Banker magazine, and has quite an esteemed background. So we're very excited to have Julie with us this afternoon. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I know I mentioned that you were with us on our inaugural event in Conscious Capitalism, and one of the tenets of Conscious Capitalism is looking at a company's purpose, their culture, employees, the whole stakeholder engagement. And I know, given the fact of the work that you do and the portfolios that you develop, you're looking at a lot of these issues, and you're really being an activist across a lot of this. Talk to us a little bit about how your work does intersect with some of those principles, and how you've brought this into the mindset of the portfolios that you've developed and the investors that you obviously interface with.
Well, the one thing I want you to know is that I came at this entire industry from a very strange place, which I think is important to bring up at the outset. Basically what happened was I was a philosophy major at Boston University. I graduated, I got a job as a community organizer for Acorn. I was organizing poor people in Florida and in Philadelphia and also in Denver around socioeconomic justice and access issues in their communities. Okay. And after I ran out of money, which was easy to do because I made $4,000 a year, I decided I better go to graduate school. So I went to the Harvard Graduate School of Education thinking I could pull together something related to my experience, philosophy. I had no idea. But what I did know when I got out is that I had about $14,000 of student loan debt.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
So I calculated out how much money I needed to make in my first job out of graduate school in order to pay back my student loans. And I knew I had applied for a bunch of different jobs. I wasn't, I was 25 or something. I wasn't really qualified to do anything at that point. And there were organizations on the ground that I could have worked at, educational institutions here in Boston, whatever, and none of them were paying enough. So I thought, well, I've never tried a for-profit. I wonder what for-profits there are. What would that be like? So I thought, there's IBM and there's Merrill Lynch. And I had a cousin that worked at Merrill Lynch, and I found out that they had a local training program. And they were going to pay me $21,000 a year as a trainee. Oh. And I took the job.
There you go.
Had absolutely no idea what I was doing. So the problem for me at Merrill Lynch, number one, was that I was a woman, and number two was that I was a lesbian. So I went into work, and I used to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I am not kidding, to try to get myself to look like I was supposed to look in order to be able to go to the office. It was crazy. So it was a very personal kind of struggle.
Yeah.
So after I left Merrill Lynch, thank goodness, and after about a year, and went over to E.F. Hutton in Cambridge. And I had a much more compassionate boss. There were 4 women brokers out of 12. You know,
Oh,
that was
that's
like
nice.
hugely
Yeah.
high.
Yeah.
A lot of us were young and new in the business. I did a lot of my training there. And what ended up happening was I started to feel like I couldn't possibly do this for a living. There was no way I could make a connection between sort of who I was and what my values were and, you know, sort of calling people up and trying to sell them stuff on the telephone, which at that time was what you did.
That's how you did it.
Yeah. So I ended up, you know, they would have a squawk box in the office, but this is back in, you know, the early 80s and mid 80s. And one day I heard somebody talking about a book called Ethical Investing. And this is a book, one of the first books written about this topic of socially responsible investing. And it was written by a woman named Amy Dominy. And as soon as that report was over, I got on the telephone and I called Amy Dominy at work. And she said, well, where are you? And I said, I'm in E.F. Hutton in Cambridge. And she said, oh, that's right at the end of my street. I'll come by on my way home. And we ended up sitting there and talking for about an hour. And then next thing I knew, I was attending her class on socially responsible investing at Cambridge Adult Ed, and then I ended up co-teaching the class with her for several years.
Oh my goodness!
And
What
started
a treasure!
doing, yeah,
What a treasure that you had in that. That's
yeah.
fabulous.
So that I've been doing it ever since. That was about 1984, something like that.
Okay.
And you know, it's worked out really well. You know, a lot of my clients have the kinds of values that I have, and so I'm able to create portfolios for them. My firm is able to create investment portfolios for them that actually reflect who they are. We're dedicated to doing that and also trying to create as much change as possible.